takes a rest. Oh yeah. Sports, pop culture, wrestling too. We got it all with the very best. Tune into the filter-free podcast for the latest in entertainment news. TNA Top 10 will make you laugh with their hilarious views.
Hello and welcome to the Ram Network's presentation of the Money in the Bank 2024 wrap-up show. Justin, I am blown away by the events of tonight, and even the stuff that would have normally disappointed me did not.
No, even when you expect it, it plays out differently than you expected, right? So definitely a good show tonight. I can't wait to talk to you about it a little bit more. Hopefully we'll be joined by some more of our Ram heads.
Oh, 100%. I hope so. We'll start out with the event with the announcement of the night is John Cena starting the After This You Can't See Me tour.
I thought that was perfect. And I already have his merchandise available on shopwwe.com. For the Farewell Cena tour. It was great. I hope
it's good looking
stops
merch.
in Tampa. Yeah, completely.
Did you feel like the door? Did you feel like the door on the merch was a teaser that maybe he'll be involved with the White Six?
Could be, but he's
not as a team member, as a victim.
Right. He's had the door on there before, so it's open differently. So I get what you're saying.
I just popped on and didn't even bother to introduce anybody. And it occurred to me that I'll let everybody know that I'm Palm Water Dave. I'm joined by the fund director for the Ram Network, Justin Yent, and from the A and the TNA Top 10, Andrew Hermes is with us. Andrew watched the pay-per-view with me over at Ad Free Shows, and I'm telling you, it was an eventful night. But back to John Cena. Do you think that it's possible that we'll see John Cena challenge Gunther at WrestleMania for the world title?
Well, and that's what people were saying. Hey, he mentioned Royal Rumble, right?
Yes.
How not to win the last Royal Rumble of your career, go on to WrestleMania for your 17th world title win and retire after that. So who knows? I mean, anything's possible in the Triple H era at this point. Andrew, what do you think?
You're muted. You're not muted, but we can't hear you.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Gotcha.
Indeed, I was muted on my new microphone, so I apologize. No, I hope not for Cena. He doesn't need it. I don't really care if he's a 17-time world champion or 16-time world champion. Wrestling was better with John Cena in it, but he doesn't have anything to prove. The man has nothing left to. His legacy is intact. First ballot Hall of Famer. Whenever they decide to put him in, he's in. So,
because I don't think we need that kind of outcome. I think we can build Gunther to bigger and better things. So I really hope they avoid the nostalgia pop of Cena with a 17th title run.
Well, let's take a swerve. Randy Orton and John Cena have been the best rivalry of their careers, right? How not end it on that with Cena and Orton at WrestleMania?
Yeah, because I don't honestly think that Kurt Angle is a possibility. I don't know how Kurt's rehab's going. I don't know that he'd want to take that kind of risk at this point of his life. I mean, other than Randy Orton, other than Kurt Angle, Randy Orton is the automatic choice.
I don't know
There's
that
not a whole
Giovanna
bunch
would let him
left.
take that match either.
Yeah. I just don't know that there's nobody left. There's nobody really still left around for back in the day, Cena. But I could totally see John putting over somebody that needs it. Their WrestleMania moment. I mean, I don't think that Cena necessarily has to end his career with his arm raised.
I can see that. I will say, just completely proud of John Cena and what he's done for the career,
Yes.
for his career in the sport of pro wrestling. So
And
it was
Hollywood
kind of a gut punch to hear, but I think at the end of the day, we all knew it was coming one day or another. So
honestly thought it already happened.
Yeah.
I thought he already had walked away.
Yeah, and it didn't have to be acknowledged. Yeah, it didn't have to be acknowledged.
But I'm for giving him his roses and giving him that last lap around, and it sounds like he wants to work most of the year. So good deal. And Cena's one of the. I mean, he truly is a pro wrestler, sports entertainer that made the leap to Hollywood beautifully. I mean, when you think about just some of the parts that the roles he's played, I mean, he's definitely great as the Peacemaker, but look at the I knew he was good when he was in the Marine.
Mm-hmm.
Played Amy Schumer's boyfriend in that movie.
That role was stupid, and I loved every minute.
But it was so the fact that he did it beautifully.
Yeah.
And,
Who else can deliver the line of Marky Mark? I look like I ate Marky Mark. So,
so I mean, he's truly better in Hollywood. I think he's better in Hollywood than he was in the ring. He's been an ambassador for the sport. I mean, his work with Make-A-Wish it's just second to none. And I'm glad that he's going to get the farewell lap. I don't think it takes away from anything. And I mean, there is a guy named The Rock that's still around. So The Rock and Cena wouldn't necessarily, I don't think that would be a bad thing. But I don't know if he'd save it for last.
Yeah.
I think The Rock's got different WrestleMania plans for next year. Anyhow, let's break down what we saw. I'll jump around and we'll take them in the order that we saw them. We started off the night with the men's Royal Rumble, the men's Money in the Bank match, and I think that one went down to Andrew's the only one that called it right. I mean, Amy's the only one that called it right. Drew McIntyre, and he did cash in. Now we knew if he cashed in that we were going to see CM Punk. I think CM Punk's the heel.
Yeah, we talked about that last PLE, and I think more than not, it's coming full circle that CM Punk is playing the heel in this.
There was no babyface actions, and when you think about it, Drew McIntyre cashed in under a babyface circumstance. I mean, he didn't come in there and just pick the bones.
Mm-hmm.
He said, let's make this a three-way. Now, they were somewhat diminished when he did it, but still, that was, as far as Money in the Bank cash-ins go, there was nothing chicken shit about it, really. He got in there and, and CM Punk did what we expected him to do, and I think it was brilliant. I think it was well done. I think we're talking about the wrong match.
No, but I mean, to your point, I think Drew did a good job of winning this match, but I think the underdog and the MVP of this match was Andrade. We talked about him being the underdog throughout the whole match. He was the underdog, but continued to deliver the entire match. So I definitely see that they're pushing him a little bit differently. I still think he needs a mouthpiece in Zelina to kind of push him further, but overall, I thought it was a pretty good match.
Scary moment. He hit that ladder awkwardly. He showed the scars from it.
Yeah. I was kind of shocked that the Wyatt Six did not get involved in this match or anything in the pay per view. If that's the new faction that they're pushing, right? You
Well,
would thought that they would have had a moment to at least pull Chad Gable under the ring or something, you know?
it comes with a lot of production value, so it might have been a lot to put them on a PLE, and I mean, you would have had to. I don't think that they were trying. I don't think they were trying to draw away from where they were going with this PLE. But I do think that the White Six comes with a lot of production value,
Yeah.
and
I,
maybe they just didn't want to do that for the PLE.
I did want to call out. So Darren Staley was the other one who called Drew winning and cashing it in. So he's in the chat.
No, you're never yesterday's Doritos. You're never yesterday's Doritos, Darren.
Andrew, what's your hot take on the match? Pretty
The
quiet
match
about the
was
men's.
the match was just there. I know I was letting you guys talk because I'm not sure how good this computer processes this tonight because the internet's fast, but I heard a lag initially. But anyway, the match was just here. It's another ladder match. It's another car crash. Once Drew McIntyre was inserted into it, my logic was rather that he was winning and he was going to cash in and he was going to fail because he and CM Punk don't need the title to fight over.
No.
So it went just about like I thought it would go, even to the point where it was Priest, not Rollins. So, and we'll get there. But this match was fine. A lot of good action, a lot of high spots. But it's another ladder match, and they're not my thing. So, but it was a fine match, just not my thing.
All right. Next up, we had the Intercontinental title defended successfully by Sami Zayn. I don't know. It was a good match. I think Sami Zayn made Braun look like $1 million. Not Braun. Braun Breaker.
Braun Breaker, yeah.
I took a pain pill before we did this, y'all.
You're good. We're here to support.
I mean, I'm a full disclosure. I've recently had knee surgery, and I'm like an '80s wrestler. I'm working on the oxys tonight.
My goodness.
Well,
This is one for me that actually this is the one I missed. Out of all the matches, this is the one I missed. I thought tonight was Braun's night. Maybe they want to do it on a bigger stage. Although that Toronto crowd was hot. I mean, that was a good place to win a title if you're going to do it. So I don't know why they wouldn't have put the title on him, but Sami Zayn's credible to beat him, and but Braun had a great night, great match, good action. That Frankensteiner where he ran the ropes was stupid because he hit the pause and then hit the Frankensteiner. But one haluva kick gets it done.
I thought he was going to kick out.
Yeah.
I was really surprised when he didn't kick out.
yeah,
So-
and you mentioned the Frankensteiner. I think it's prettier than his uncle's. I mean, it's just flawless. How
He
hit
floated.
that
He
Frankensteiner.
floated to the top. He didn't climb.
Yeah,
those ropes.
Oh yeah. It is
And
absolutely
he
beautiful.
stood there for a second and then hit it.
Yeah.
Uh,
It literally had me kind of wincing because I thought he was going to hurt himself, but it absolutely looked beautiful in action. So
The good news is that is an athletic freak. They all recognize he's a freak, and he'll have that title soon enough. It's just a matter of how they put it on him.
Could have it. He could have it tomorrow night. He could have it Monday night on Raw.
But let me ask a question. Do you feel that they kept him strong? Because to me, he lost clean, right? And I don't know if that books him strong going forward. One haluva kick and he's out.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, but he lost. Go ahead, Dave.
it's the haluva kick, though. I mean, he didn't diminish that man's finish. But a lot of
And he
people
lost-
have failed to the haluva kick.
Yeah.
And he lost clean to an upper mid-card star who at one point was in the bloodline. So Sami Zayn, for all he is and has not been in the last year or so, he's been factored into big matches and big moments. So
And
if you're gonna lose, it might as well be to Sami Zayn
and Sami Zayn beat the baddest MFer in the company.
and Walter Gunther.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
to beat
Now you got me doing it,
to
calling
beat
him Walter.
Gunther. Just, I mean, so Sami Zayn's no pushover.
No, I
If
get
I'm
it.
not mistaken, didn't Sami Zayn and is along with Cody Rhodes is the only person that has pinned Roman Reigns in the last 3-4 years.
Correct.
Yeah,
So I know it seems like a bump in the road for Braun Breaker. But if I didn't think so much of him, I wouldn't be sitting here coming up with all these excuses for him.
no, I get you. And I actually text Amy after, and I said the only thing I can think of is there was a part of the match where Braun actually looked like he was hurt, and only thing I can think of is they pulled the trigger because something's wrong with Braun, and I hope that's not the case. But I'm also trying to make excuses for why he didn't win. So in my head, this match was booked a lot different.
Yeah, I didn't see it going that way. And
I thought they were going to give him his moment in front of 20,000 screaming Canadians.
Heather's I'm so on Breaker that I think he used his family name to get a fast push, and when he started, and have not seen enough recent work to decide. So
I get it.
he's a hell of an athlete. There's more good in front of him than behind him for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Yeah. For me, and I don't want to get too long on this show, guys, but for me, he's got that Kurt Angle natural athleticism, and that is a scary gear for someone to find in professional wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, his dad and his uncle were freak athletes, but this is a different animal altogether.
So
Braun Breaker.
I will say, as a Florida guy, I've been able to watch him in NXT, and before they even debut in NXT, they have to work the door for security, and he worked it for several months. So it's not like he just got put on the card in NXT. He was setting up the ring post and everything. So he's paid his dues, and I'm kind of excited for him to kind of get a push, but he's definitely doing pretty good.
And outside of Dragunov in NXT, Sami Zayn's the only one that's had a competitive match with Braun Breaker to speak of.
Yeah.
I guess Carmelo. Carmelo had a pretty competitive match with him in NXT as well.
Yep.
But
The dude's got a hell of an upside. I remember the first time I saw him. I don't normally watch NXT, not regularly. I don't know if I watched it because I heard he was going to be on there, but I know that I was super impressed with him. I didn't expect this match to be so early in the show, and we've already talked about it a little bit because it did what I thought it was going to do. We all picked Damian Priest to retain. We all picked Drew to cash in if he won. I mean, like I said, I thought Gable, but I mean, nothing surprised. The big takeaway from this match is that Damian Priest did not kick out of the Falcon's arrow, and the referee just flat ass did not count it.
So do you think that plays into Seth getting a rematch?
Seth responded to it like, what the hell?
Yeah.
Guys, I'm a referee, and you're not supposed to, and I've done it. I have not counted 3 on a title change that the champion did not kick out on. But I've always been told in WWE that it's up, the referee's supposed to call it, and if something doesn't go like it's supposed to, that's on the wrestler, not the referee. And he in no way, shape, form, or fashion even attempted to kick out. Now, the referee did check on him immediately after that. I mean, he didn't count it and started checking on him. Something happened, got his bell rung. I don't know. He was able to continue. I just think that something like that, that's why it's called working. They
Mhm.
could have worked it out.
Especially when they had the standby. They had Drew McIntyre on standby.
And the
They were
Falcon's
ready.
arrow is a finish.
They were ready. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? They were ready. They were ready for Drew McIntyre.
I don't think that was the spot that Drew McIntyre was supposed to come out.
Mm-mm.
I would
And-
agree.
And I'm not
That's what
sure
I'm
that he was
saying.
supposed to make it a triple threat match.
Right.
I mean, that may have been called on the fly. Hey, we don't know what's going on out there. Now it's a triple threat match. So, I mean, things happen. It's not. What's that Bruce says? It's not ballet.
It's not ballet. Well, the thing is, and you had pointed it out, and I think that we could all agree, Damian Priest has had a subpar run that hasn't matched up to the potential that he had to be the world champion. And his in-ring is not matching the look or the presence that he has. Some guys don't work well with the belt, but this is the worker's belt. So you better be able to have a wrestling match. And unfortunately, he hasn't had a real barn burner yet. And he had a match with Bad Bunny that's been far better than anything he's done as the world champion.
I think Seth said it best in the pre-interview, right? Your first title run is always going to be the most nerve-wracking because you're handed the ball, right? You don't know how or what to expect. So I would definitely say that we're going to see a different Priest if given the chance on a second title run. Now, the way this played out, I would have completely played it different. I would not have had CM Punk interfere. I would have had AJ Lee, her music hit, her come down and distract Drew, costing him the match. Kind of pushing that hey, is CM Punk still injured or what? I mean, we already know at this point that he's just screwing with Drew, right? But I
Yeah.
think it's a way to kind of get a pop for AJ Lee coming back, not be physical, kind of continue to push that, and then continue the storyline of CM Punk and Drew McIntyre. But yeah, it's just it's
Does
crazy.
Does this become a three-way dance between? Do we see Drew, Seth, and Damian Priest before SummerSlam and a three-way for the title?
Or now that CM Punk has cost Rollins the match,
Rollins had an issue with Punk.
Yep.
There was a
does it
stare down.
become a three-way between Rollins, Punk, and Seth?
Do we read anything to Corey Graves getting in the middle of that? That seemed out of character to me.
Yeah, they kept talking about how he's very close with Seth, right? And so I think that's how they were able to justify him keeping Seth calm. But I do wonder, we talked about it before, right? Is Seth just back for this match, going back out? What does he do on the road to SummerSlam? And now I kind of see him being inserted into the CM Punk Drew McIntyre feud.
Definitely. I still think that there's no way under God's green earth that Gunther doesn't leave SummerSlam World Heavyweight Champion.
Absolutely not. Absolutely. And after tonight, after that finish, after the risk, no way they're putting it on the ring general.
Yeah.
And that's where it belongs. In the current creative, it belongs on Gunther. And no offense to Damian Priest, he had a bad night. But his match against Jey Uso wasn't great either.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, it may be the nerves. When Seth won the title back in 2015, he had the ability to be covered up by a lot of gaga because he was part of the Authority. So he had a lot of players around him. Now, Damian Priest has that same ability with the Judgment Day. But the way I see this going is the Judgment Day cost him the title inadvertently. And no, Darren, I do not give one single solitary fuck about CM Punk. But I'm on record. Everybody knows that I think CM Punk will have one or two good matches, and he'll be hurt again, and he'll go off 6 months, and he'll be hurt again. He is not the person he used to be. Well, I think he's the person he always was from a character standpoint, but from a physical standpoint, he took one DDT in the Royal Rumble, and it's put him out of the... at this point, we're in month 6? So
That's
I'm
why.
not a CM Punk fan.
That's why I sing his song. Look in my eyes. What do you see? I'm old and prone to injury.
So from a nostalgia aspect, I'm glad to see him back and glad to see him finish a run in WWE. Now, how he continues to do it will be seen on how he acts and how he wrestles, right? But at the same point, the part of me that saw him leave when he probably didn't want to leave, I'm kind of glad he's back and finishing his story. So
I've got to say that what he's done in WWE, even though he got hurt, I've enjoyed him this WWE run, and I probably enjoyed it because I don't have to see him. Because the next dollar I spend on CM Punk will be the first dollar I ever spend on CM Punk. But he's just not my cup of tea and never has been. But I mean, anybody that legit whips the Young Bucks ass and Jungle Boy's ass, he ain't all bad. So,
Well, and here's the thing about CM Punk for me. He never main evented WrestleMania. No, but you got to wrestle The Undertaker at WrestleMania. So there's that. And then when he gets to AEW, talking about whooping the Young Bucks' asses, you couldn't do business any better than they could. And you decided to kill the biggest money angle that company had with the feud with MJF.
now,
And that's you, and that's bad business.
do you believe that was Punk not willing to work with them, or them not willing to work with Punk? Because reports say that they wouldn't even agree to a meeting with him.
yeah,
I don't think he would have worked with them either, though, because all you have at that point is a dick war.
Yeah.
You know, all it is a dick war between the two parties, whether it's the Jacksons and Punk or Kenny Omega and Punk or whoever in Punk. Guess who the common denominator in all of this is? Punk. And that's what made him painted as the bad guy, is he's the common denominator in all of it. So he's not. Like you, Dave, I've never spent $1 on professional wrestling to watch CM Punk. And I never, ever will.
But with all that being said, him screwing with Drew McIntyre is good.
Yeah, it absolutely. They don't need the title to fight over.
I mean, this has been really well done. I mean,
And
to the point
Amy's
where it's
point earlier,
predictable.
Mhm.
It's predictable, but my God, it's good predictable.
yeah. I kind of wish they would have left the briefcase on Drew and had Punk and Drew fight for the briefcase, just to make it a little bit more entertaining. So,
Well, and to Amy's point, this is already an I Quit, no man, last man standing, steel cage, Hell in a Cell. They've got the feud built.
yeah.
Will the match deliver? I have no worries about Drew McIntyre. I have no concerns that Drew McIntyre will deliver on the match.
And
The question mark is CM Punk in that equation.
And Seth Rollins getting a rematch is not going to happen because Seth Rollins, as a result of not winning tonight, cannot challenge for the world title as long as Damian Priest is champion. So there will be no rematch.
And there's nothing to say Rollins doesn't return the favor and screw Punk at SummerSlam.
And
Because
I don't think
they
that
were
Drew's the
supposed
type,
to wrestle at WrestleMania. It was supposed to be Rollins and Punk.
and I don't think that Drew McIntyre's character is the type that they're going to have him get an injunction to get his briefcase back because CM Punk, an uncleared wrestler, interfered. And I don't think that they're going to go that route. I don't think they would reverse that. And I don't really honestly think that you need both briefcases being part of the storyline for a while because you got, we'll get there, but what I'm saying
You got
is
a women's, yeah.
I mean, when your decision to put it on Drew McIntyre, he's not the type that's going to carry it around for 6 months like Jaws waiting to strike.
Mm-mm. No, the first one was really the best one in Edge because he held it so long, people forgot he had it until New Year's Revolution in 2006 or 5, whatever it was. But he held that briefcase so long, and then he cashed it in after Cena won the Elimination Chamber match in San Juan, Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
When you thought the pay-per-view was over.
Yeah, and that was brilliant because you'd never seen it before.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we've seen so many cash-ins over the last 15 years, they kind of lose that magic.
And And I'd like to just address Darren Staley in the chat.
I was waiting.
I mean, it's funny because I talk about as a referee, I always my advice to other referees is work, don't watch. And when Darren Staley's in the chat, it's hard to work and not watch. But I am 100% a Days of Our Lives mark from back in the day, and so when you're over there talking about that, Dave loves Days of Our Lives. I did, and as damaged as Sammy was, I wanted to make an honest woman out of her.
Lucas couldn't even do that.
Lucas was a puss.
uh,
He was bitch made. You know he was.
Because I have to be the guy that ruins everything. I never watched Days of Our Lives, so y'all continue.
And Stefano
I'll sit in
Demira.
my corner.
Stefano Demira is one of the greatest television villains of all time.
yeah, I told Darren if Stefano returns, there's a problem. So
I'm surprised I haven't cloned him yet. I haven't watched it in a long time.
well, let's talk about what I feel was the match of the night, which was
I do feel this too.
Women's Money in the Bank.
The men should be ashamed that the women the women outperformed them in this ladder match. I mean, and it wasn't even close.
Yeah, there were a couple times I thought they were trying to kill each other. So
Legitimately.
yeah. Poor Zoe Stark has got to have either a concussion or a headache right now.
What about
Whatever
Naomi?
Yeah, and then Io too, because Io's the one who gave her the move. Zoe Stark, that is.
Yeah. Io landed on a ladder. She came off and landed on the ladder. She got hit in the head with the ladder. She fell out of the ring on top of a ladder. I mean, it was brutal.
The thing I like about this match, and we all had our favorites, and I picked Tiffy Time to win this one. But the thing I liked about this match was the fact that it was far less what I would call predictable than the men's match. And that's what made it so much fun to watch. I didn't think Naomi was winning. I didn't think Io was winning. But the other four women, I thought they all had a chance to win this match. I really thought
at one point there, I thought
Tiffany
Io
Stratton
was
going to win it because of all the things we discussed. Yeah.
Well,
it was well booked.
Yeah.
Chelsea Green,
Io was.
Chelsea Green is a star, y'all.
if you had your doubts about Chelsea Green before this match, she completely confirmed that she belongs there. She's a star. And the way she sold that table at the end, absolutely amazing. So
I was surprised she took the bump because you don't see her take those seriously risky bumps, and I don't want any of them to take these bumps, but I understand that's a ladder match, and I rooted as hard as anybody when Mankind fell off the cell. Now that you're an adult and you understand what that does to people, you don't root for it as hard as you used to. But I was about to say I think Io Sky was the star of this match, but then there's Chelsea Green, who really for the first time showed what she can do in a professional wrestling ring. Because she's been packaged as somebody who runs and hides and ducks and dodges and, she doesn't actually wrestle. She was very good in this match.
And she told the story of being scared of heights. She didn't want to climb. She had plenty of time.
In a ladder match, which was fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, she started to climb the ladder and had second thoughts. But for her not to win it, but to end up through those tables, it was brilliant. I think that was so well done. My hat's off to her. She's going to get her. She's going to get her time.
yeah, I could definitely see her, and I think the SmackDown Women's Division is going to be entertaining for the next couple months with Nia chasing Bayley, with Tiffany and Chelsea right behind. So
yeah,
well,
Tiffany
and Nia set that up last night when she took Bayley out with those leg drops and the attack after the match. They're ready for SummerSlam, or they will be. And I don't know that there's any way you avoid putting that title on Nia Jax.
Oh, does Tiffy hit her in the head with that briefcase and take it immediately upon winning it?
I hope not. That's so what happened with Alexa Bliss cashing in on Nia. So
Yep.
Yeah, do they maintain a team with Naya as the champion and she's running around with Tiffy Time carrying that briefcase?
Yeah, I hope they build the storyline because truly, I think Nia deserves a run after the second. Bringing her back, she's definitely had a dominant run. She's definitely improved, so I definitely would like to see her get her flowers with a little bit of a extended title run.
It's going to be interesting with with Tiffany in this briefcase.
Agreed.
Uh,
Well, and the right person, the right type of character is carrying the briefcase. It could have been
or
Tiffany, or it could have been Chelsea. The right type of character is carrying the briefcase.
and maybe Bailey retains at SummerSlam and Tiffany picks her off because she's exhausted from her battle with Naya. But that's a different prediction.
That's a
That's a
different
different
show.
prediction show. All these ladies, they performed their ass off tonight.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a fan of ladder matches, y'all. I don't enjoy seeing bodies crash into ladders. Anybody that's ever hit their leg on a ladder climbing it, anybody that's ever smashed their finger on a ladder, um, bumped their leg with a ladder trying to set it up, knows that ladders do not feel good. I feel like the crazy bumps they take on them is more risk than reward. Uh, but that being said, the women are double tough.
Yeah,
Uh, I thought Naomi got her head busted open tonight. She sold her back, but her head was firmly on one of the rungs. Uh, it's just, EO, like I said, EO was taking them bad. Just crazy bumps on those ladders. And it just, I cringe. I do.
It's like the
And
trailer hitch on the shin there, Dave. Climb a ladder and bump your shin on one of the rungs. You
yes,
will cuss like I do on a daily basis. So
and I still remember Joey Mercury getting his face peeled back with
yep.
one of those ladders.
Yeah.
So,
Just a bad spot. Cool visual, bad spot. Terrible
um,
spot.
and I don't know who produces these things and these backstage segments, but when we have Trish Stratus, Joy Redmond, and Tiffany Stratton all in the same shot, um, that's an Emmy award winning presentation, and I want to thank you so much. Just
In the words of your buddy Conrad Thompson, Trish Stratus is 40 whatever years old. She still got it.
Trish Stratus looks the same as she did when she debuted in 2000.
there was a lot of
And
roll tide. There was a lot of roll tide on that screen.
yeah, needs to be washed away with Tide, I'm sure.
Oh
Uh,
my God!
Get the sandy wipes out, boys. This is wrestling fans watching this shit.
I did like the fact that they teased a potential altercation between Tiffy and Trish. I think that would be a good match. Trish is definitely able to still hold her own in the ring, so would love to see her back.
Trish has not embarrassed herself at all in her last couple of runs.
No,
Mm-mm.
So
And she has helped whoever she is working with. Like it has made them more interesting or given them a different layer or a different angle altogether.
I did think that she would appear during the women's ladder match and cost Zoe her potential chance and kind of tie up that storyline because Zoe sent her out of the WWE last time. So I like callbacks. I'm very much about callbacks, and I think having Trish in the same arena as Zoe and not having an interaction or a finality to their feud is a miss.
and then we had the 6-man tag team match. World Heavyweight WWE Champion Cody Rhodes, along with RKO, against the Bloodline. Jacob Fatu.
Mm.
Oh my God. I am so genuinely happy. Like my whole wrestling heart smiles that Jacob Fatu is performing in a WWE ring. He looks like $1 million. He is so believable. So believable. And that's my first takeaway. I expected this match I did not expect much out of it. For some reason, I didn't think it was going to be, I thought it was going to be lackluster. I did not have high expectations, and it delivered and then some. I thought this was a great 6-man tag team match.
Yeah, I was impressed. I've seen him on the Indies. I'd like to see him actually debuting. I think he reminds me a lot of Umaga, and kind of showed that a lot in the ring tonight. So I'm definitely looking forward to seeing more of him and the new bloodline. So
Yes.
Yeah, the things he does inside the ring with the combination of his speed and power is obscene. That was the idea behind Solo. They have a much better version of it now in Jacob Fatu. Not to say Solo isn't great, but you said Umaga, Justin. That's who Solo is. Solo is supposed to be Umaga. But that first step that Jacob Fatu has, that intensity he delivers his strikes with, the believability that he brings to the ring, the fact that we are in a new era in WWE and they're calling him the Samoan werewolf or whatever. I mean, you would never, ever, ever get these guys to use their names they used previously. Gorillas of Destiny, Siberian Werewolf, Tama and Tongaloa, and of course Jacob Fatu. They would have all been changed previously under Vince McMahon. They get to keep all of that and all of that identity and everything they've built over the last few years. Now, I promise you, WWE is going to own that, but they get to use it. And then he delivers. Probably 20 or 30 pounds lighter than the last time I saw him wrestle. And he's fast. And he's very, very good. And he's supposed to be the enforcer of this new faction. So we will see. But I thought he had a great accounting of himself. And of course, setting it up kind of like they did in 96 with Camp Cornette versus Shawn Michaels' team at the In Your House. The challenger defeats the champion in the 6-man tag.
That's always good. That's always good storytelling when the challenger defeats the champion ahead of a title match.
Yep. Because I think that's your title match. I think you're going to get Solo and Cody at SummerSlam.
Yep.
I thought it had already been announced. Had it not?
No, Solo just said he was coming for him.
I just assumed when he came out after Cody's last title defense over Saudi Arabia, I just assumed that was the plan, and I thought it had already been announced, and I'd been proceeding. My prediction was based on me thinking that Solo was already the challenger for Survivor Series.
Well, and let's not forget this either. He officially is the leader of the bloodline. He's wearing Roman's lei. He said last night at the end of SmackDown, if Roman wants it, he can come get it from me. So what we're going to see, I think, increasingly is Solo Sikoa offending Roman Reigns. And at some point, when Roman comes back, he's going to be the biggest babyface in the company, save for Cody Rhodes. So they're doing this right. I just don't know if you can bring Roman back at SummerSlam if Solo takes a loss. If Solo takes the L,
not unless he personally causes that loss.
Yeah, I mean, if he hits him with a Superman punch right into the crossroads, that makes sense, The
bloodline prevented the bloodline prevented Jey Uso from winning the title.
So I'm going to make a prediction, and I know I earlier said hold off Roman until at least Rumble, right? I say you bring him back at the PLE in Saudi Arabia at the end of October, and you have the Bloodline versus the Bloodline in Survivor Series War Games.
Yep.
And you have a babyface. Yeah. Yep.
What a great time to be a
but I think The Rock is I think The Rock is behind it all, and I still think The Rock is behind it all.
You think he's behind Solo or?
Oh, let's talk about The Rock. Let's talk about The Rock.
Yeah, I think The Rock's behind Solo.
They did an extended preview of the WrestleMania documentary. And the group that I watched it with was talking about that The Rock was taking too much credit for things. And I think The Rock was working all through that documentary. there's no doubt in my mind, listening to The Rock do those interviews, that he's working. He's 100% working through that entire documentary.
Hmm.
He's not out of character for the final boss.
Nope.
There's nothing
And
that makes him likable. Any of those clips that you played, there's nothing in there that he comes away being likable.
I've either said it on this podcast or on something we've done before, or even on our TNA podcast, that the final boss and the tribal chief are automatically opposed to each other. Because that's the same person. If you're the final boss, you're the tribal chief. You can't have them coexist. So you're automatically in opposition to each other. Solo's promo after WrestleMania, when he kicks Jimmy out of the bloodline because Jimmy's injured in real life, was very telling. You lost, and we don't lose here. Well, Roman took the pin the night before to Cody Rhodes. So it's, if they build on that, they've got the cookie crumbs to build on it. You know,
Yes.
like this is Hansel and Gretel. They've laid that for all of us to eat up and follow along, or like the Mega Power storyline and all that sort of thing. I think The Rock is the final component to this, because you are going to get Rock Roman at some point. My thought would be WrestleMania. But I don't know that we get him there because of all of the other obligations that Rock has. But that's what I would plan for, is Rock Roman. To your point, Dave, why are you ever going to step out of character if you know there's more down the line?
Yeah, exactly.
And wrestling fans like us, guys, eat that shit up. We love the dirt. We love behind the scenes. Dave Meltzer's made a living for 40 years because people like us want to know what's going on. We don't necessarily have to subscribe to Meltzer now. We just listen to podcasts, and we get to hear all about it after the fact. So when you get The Rock in a documentary like that, where now he's the meme instead of the Hawk Tuah girl, where he says, "I told Hogan to go ahead and do this or whatever," you know,
right.
That's where he's at now. But I agree with you. There's an element of working, and I think with The Rock, he's always working to some degree, because even if they never capitalize on that, they have the ability to do so, and that's what makes him so good at his job.
Yes. Well, overall, how did we receive this? How did we receive this premium live event?
I don't think there was a bad match on the premium live event. I think they all did well. I'd say, at the end of the day, you can't call it perfect, but I'd give it 3 out of 4 stars.
I rank my rankings as for those of y'all that may be listening and have no idea who I am. I host a podcast called Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave, RASSLIN, because I'm old school. Pondwater, instead of doing a star rating, I do a Pondwater jar rating, actual jars of pond water. And I give this 4 jars out of 5. And if Damian Priest would have even looked like he was going to kick out, I probably would have gone 4 in a mouthful. So this was a very entertaining night of professional wrestling for me. While I'm mentioning what we do, Andrew down there is the A in the TNA Top 10 podcast. Justin Yent is the producer of the Filter Free podcast. Our three podcasts combined to make up the Ram Network is what we're talking about here, wrestling and more. Andrew, take a second and tell everybody what y'all have coming up on the TNA Top 10 and exactly what kind of podcast are you?
Yes, so we are, thank you, Dave, for that. We are a football podcast, but we're not a football podcast. So in the off season, we have started to rank top 10s of whatever. Pizza toppings, we just did sports cars. We have Notion, we did movie franchises. We think we may do one-hit wonders in music, B-rated movies, all that sort of stuff. So that's going to be our fun podcast. We do that for an hour. We're going to do that. We're going to talk a little wrestling. We're going to give you a champ of the week, somebody we believe needs to be recognized for the things they do. Hour 2, or show 2, after we get back from Las Vegas next week, will be, because 3 of the 4 of us that work on the podcast will be in Las Vegas together. Or 3 of us that work on the podcast will be in Las Vegas with Amy, is our 4th. Anyway, we're going to break it up to a football show because Terry and I are diehard football fans. Anybody that's interacted with me knows that I eat, sleep, and breathe college football. So we are 50 days away from kickoff, and we will have an hour-long podcast dedicated to football. And the way it's going to work, we're going to talk about the games of the week, the big plays or news that happened, the top 10 football teams. We're going to give our fans a list of 30 to vote on. And they're going to be 30 top 10 teams or the top 30 teams. It ain't going to be me picking my Nebraska Cornhuskers at 1-0 and putting them in the damn top 10. We ain't going to do that. But we're going to give you 30 teams to vote on, and then we're going to give you our play of the week or moment of the week, and we're going to give you our predictions. And that's how it's going to work. It's a fast 45 minutes or an hour. Terry and I, at one time, spent 45 minutes breaking down the 4th quarter of the Iron Bowl. So we certainly can talk football. We are going to be on a much better pace with Allison as our producer. But the fun show people have enjoyed over the last several months, where we just rank random things. And you guys tell us what you want to hear us rank. It's at TNA Top 10. I'm at 30-Year Fan. He's at TWeave79. She is at Allison Faye. If you want to see us rank some weird thing, it doesn't even have to be weird, but you know what I mean. Just rank something.
We had fun with candy bars.
Candy bars. Yeah. Is a Reese's Peanut Butter Cup a candy bar? That's rhetorical. Don't answer that. But that was part of the argument. And that's what I'm getting at. Dave's right. And we do restaurants, and we do cars, and we've done movie, and we do it all. So it doesn't really matter. We rank the top 10 baseball movies. Minor league or Major League One, I believe. But anyway, that's what we do. And we're part of the Ram Network. Glad to be part of it. I also co-host a show with Dave and the HSV of FFP. We're doing Hard Times and Beyond, walking through the Crockett years as well as WCW, and we're working on Generations together. Currently on the new generation, we are at Royal Rumble 1993. So when I get back from Las Vegas, we'll be recording shows for both of those bonus shows. If you join us on the Ram Network, they're fully available to you.
Justin Yent, tell us all about the Filter Free Podcast.
Well, before I do that, I want to tell everybody how they can join us on the Ram Network. So they can actually go to patreon.com/Ram Network. And for $10 a month, you get to hear a plethora of voices like Andrew and Pondwater Dave and the fellas of Filter Free Podcast. So Filter Free Podcast is a show that takes you back in time and covers pop culture and world events from a filter-free viewpoint. We'll take you on a journey of pop culture, sports, and music that will make you feel like you're back in the moment. So last week, they covered 1986. The week before that, 2004. So they're always covering different months and years. So it's definitely worth listening to.
It's always a fun listen. My show is Talking Wrestling with Pondwater Dave. I'm joined by Justin Davis and Amy Vaughn, who we refer to as the First Lady of the Arn Anderson Fan Club. We like to spotlight independent wrestling. I am a firm believer that independent wrestling is not the minor leagues. It is people that are just as talented as what we saw on this pay-per-view tonight that just haven't been seen with the right set of eyes. And we try to shine a spotlight on independent wrestling. I've been a referee on the independent circuit for almost 20 years. So independent wrestling is near and dear to my heart, but I'm also old school, and I will mix in some legends from time to time. We also will occasionally mix in a comedian. I like comedy. The one thing that you'll find about all of our podcasts is we do this because we enjoy it. We like to have fun. And if it's fun for us to put on for you, it might be fun for you to listen to us. This Tuesday, I will be welcoming the producer and director of professional wrestling named Dan Bynum, who was a director for World Class Championship Wrestling when it took off in 1983, late 82, 83, during that boom. He was the director of the Bad Street USA video by Michael Hayes and the Freebirds. He's been he was with WCW for years. He's been with Ring of Honor, uh, over 40 years in the wrestling business. A tremendous television producer, great storyteller. I had the privilege of meeting him. We were both inducted in the Southern Wrestling Hall of Fame a couple years ago, and I think the world of him, and I can't wait to just sit there and just whip his ass about World Class Championship Wrestling this Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Central Time live at pwdpod.com. I also do some bonus content at the Ram Network. I do a World Class Flashback where we're looking at 1983. I do that with Timmy C from the Filter Free. My co-host Amy Vaughn does The Power of the Pen with TJ Stevens, where they interview wrestling authors. So much wrestling content. I also do an Audience with the Belt Pope. I almost forgot. I collect wrestling belts. I own 75, 76 of them. We talk. I'll take a belt and we'll talk about it. Not just the history of it, but the design, why I love it. It's just nerd stuff. An Audience with the Belt Pope on the Ram Network. You can get the Ram Network, like Justin said, for $10 a month. We're trying to over deliver. There's going to be some watch alongs. And there will be one show called I Was There. Right now we have a spreadsheet where all of us that are involved have turned in some of the biggest events in wrestling history that we actually attended. And we'll do a show where we'll watch that event and we'll talk about our experience there, what our memories were. But as a member of the Ram Network, you can too submit the great cards that you were there and be selected to be a co-host and talk about your memories of being at one of these shows. We did the first episode was Saturday Night Main Event from Dallas, Texas, 2006. Not only was I there, I sat on the front row on the hard cam and caught Shawn Michaels' DX t-shirt. We had a good time talking about that one. And we got plenty coming. So not to be long-winded, I just wanted to really put over the Ram Network and our 3 podcasts and what we're doing. It's a labor of love, and we hope that you enjoyed it. We appreciate you being here with us tonight as we wrapped up Money in the Bank. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate each and every one of you. For Andrew Hermes and Justin Yent, I'm Palm Water Dave, and we'll see you soon on the Ram Network. Good night.